for your 5 minutes of questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For more than a decade, this committee has worked to pass legislation to upgrade communication systems in 911 centers around the country, and it's a bipartisan endeavor that will improve emergency response and save lives. And that's how I was so disappointed that my Republican colleagues passed their big ugly bill without any plan to use the proceeds from Spectrum auctions for programs that serve the public interest, like Next Generation 911. So I have two questions, Mr. Fontes. Mr. Fonts, you have been a strong advocate for using Spectrum auction proceeds to fund public safety priorities. Can you explain why authorizing the FCC's auction authority for 10 years without funding Next Generation 911 is a setback for public safety and first responders, if you will?
Ladies and gentlemen, here we go again. Washington politicians playing games with our public safety, wasting time, and ignoring what truly matters, protecting American lives. Now, this committee hearing was supposed to be about upgrading our 911 systems. You know, making sure when you dial for help, it actually works faster, better, stronger. But what did we get? Another Democrat meltdown because Republicans dared to pass a bill without their laundry list of spending projects attached.
Thank you. I was around when the Commission first received authorization from Congress to auction Spectrum, and that has and continues to be a success. It was unfortunate that that authority lapsed. Efforts continue to provide Spectrum for our commercial and non-commercial uses. For the commercial space, an easy and efficient way to allocate and license Spectrum is through auction authority. Now, we're in a situation where Spectrum can be auctioned, but the ability to use auction revenues to fund Next Generation 911 doesn't exist. So there are opportunities here. I would first off take a look at the FCC and say, look, I know you have proceedings in the 4.9 gig band or other proceedings here that may not fall within the purview of the restrictions or the reallocations of 911 funding under the reconciliation bill. Are there opportunities there to take a look at additional Spectrum that could possibly be auctioned off to support funding for Next Generation 911?
Okay. And then the second question is that some have suggested that Congress needs to seek a new cost estimate for Next Generation 911 before passing a bill. But I think this is not only unnecessary, but also further delays long overdue action to invest in our public safety network. So, Dr. Fonz, do you think we need another cost estimate for Next Generation 911?
No, but I think raising the question is an appropriate thing to ask. You know, do we need additional research or studies to assess cost? I don't think we do, and the reasons are, first off, the FCC collects, as part of their annual 911 report, how much states are investing in Next Generation 911. So that would give a clear indication of how states are progressing in their efforts to deploy Next Generation 911. I also think that if the allocation of funds were available and managed correctly, and working with state 911 authorities, local governments, and so forth, we would be able to see how that money is rolled out and deploying Next Generation 911 so as to not just dump a pot of money and say, okay, it's yours, have fun with it. It's looking at a pot of money and managing it wisely. And who knows, with state investment as well as federal investment, we may achieve Next Generation 911 sooner rather than later.
They're crying that the big ugly bill didn't include their pet funding for Next Generation 911. But let's get real. For more than a decade, both sides have talked about upgrading our emergency systems, and Democrats have done nothing but hold it hostage for more spending and control. They say it's about saving lives. But when it comes time to actually act, they just want more studies, more delays, and more bureaucracy. And let's talk about Spectrum auctions. The government basically sells off frequencies to telecom companies. That brings in billions of dollars. Republicans said, hey, let's authorize these auctions for 10 years. Let's get America moving. But Democrats, they're mad that the bill doesn't funnel those billions into another bloated federal slush fund. They want to manage the money translation, waste it on bureaucrats and consultants before it ever helps a single first responder. Here's the truth. Our 911 systems do need upgrades, but we don't need another round of Washington red tape or some new task force to figure out how much it costs. We already have the data. The FCC tracks state investments every year. You want faster emergency response? Empower local authorities. Let states handle it. Stop waiting on DC to save the day. Instead of dumping billions into another centralized bureaucracy, how about this? Give states flexibility to use auction funds responsibly. Cut the waste, streamline the process, and make sure every penny goes where it belongs to first responders, not politicians. Because I don't know about you, but when an American is in trouble, they don't need another study. They need a working 911 system that picks up in seconds, not some bureaucrat holding a press conference. This is what happens when DC forgets who they serve. Our public safety shouldn't be a partisan game. It's about America first. If you're tired of Washington wasting your tax dollars while our first responders struggle for resources, hit that like button, share this video, and don't forget to subscribe. Drop a comment below. Should states take control of 911 modernization, yes or no? Because it's time we the people demand accountability and action. Let's make noise. Let's make change.